Buhari set up protocols in which those who work with the state are in collusion with these terrorists, and representative our security services, I believe, have been Afghanistan. The Afghanistanization of the security services simply means the infiltration of our security services. It is wrong to have allowed Atiku to succeed Buhari. It will be one Fulani after the other. And as you see, the Fulanis killing people across the country. Why? They want to appropriate the country.
Be careful of the use of words.
Allow me to use my words, please.
Yeah,
I'm use the words. You might be very careful.
And there are good people.
I am speaking about national security. Hold on, please. My brother, this is a national security issue.
Yes.
There is a war on. You want to pretend there's no war. I know there is a failure of our security architecture to actually tailor and prepare what I would call an intelligent response to the current insecurity across the country. They might end up having us, resort to self-help. I know I have seen in several communities, people are now designing their own self-help strategies. And I even read some yesterday advising people, whatever you do, don't tell anybody, because when you speak, because of members of the state probably in complicit, collusion, as General Danjuma stated, it's not everybody that works for the Nigerian state that are today in collusion. But because of Buhari set up protocols in which those who work with the state are in collusion with these terrorists, and President Tinubu had not been able to weed those people out, it becomes a problem trusting them. And that's why I can understand his sudden attempt to now resort to a new body called the Forest Guards. They may not be infiltrated, and that they may be able to build something that has not yet been Afghanistan. Our security services, I believe, have been Afghanistan. The Afghanistanization of the security services simply means the infiltration of our security services of those evil people, the terrorists, just the same way Buhari ran what he called a de-radicalization policy, which now got him to infuse members of the terrorist movement into the security services, primarily the army. And what did you have? Suddenly, these people infused and are the ones providing intelligence to those who didn't get converted, through the radicalization problem. So we have a problem. There is not a proper stating of real priorities of state by departments of state, in this case, the Department of State Security. What they are going after is not the proper thing to do. They should be gathering intelligence to tell the army or the police who to go and hold or to take away from the space so that we can have peace. They're not doing that. The crisis is still sustaining all across the country. People are being killed, and these militias are killing people everywhere, and nobody's doing a thing. So for me, the state is still very much asleep and sleeping right on the wheels. It is wrong to have allowed Atiku to succeed Buhari. It will be one Fulani after the other. And as you see, the Fulanis killing people across the country. Why? They want to appropriate the country.
Be careful of the use of words. When you generalize.
Allow me to use my words, please.
Yeah, I'm saying
you might be very careful.
And there are good people.
I am speaking about national security. Hold on, please. My brother, this is a national security issue.
Yes.
There is a war on. You want to pretend there's no war. There's a war on.
I'm only saying there are
a lot of you journalists are part of the problem. You don't want to address the truth. There's a war on. Why are you saying you're not pretending? There's a war on. People are being killed everywhere. You're saying there's no war. What do you mean you're not pretending? You are. You are part of the problem in this country. Allow us to speak the truth so that people will know what's going on. There's a war on. People in the Benue cannot go to farm. People in Plateau cannot stay in their houses. People in Taraba can't. Everywhere there's a war, and you're telling me that we should keep quiet? No, there's a problem. So those who are responsible for the war simply want to turn Nigeria into a settler colonial entity, and that's what's going on. You don't see that. You're seeing the politics. Forget about the politics. There is a real problem in the country. People are not sleeping at night. People, even in daytime, our farmers cannot go to farms. We now have food security problems. Why? The Fulani war across West Africa has finally bettered in Nigeria. And you don't want me to talk about it. Why? Who are you afraid of? Who will hear it and we will die? This is the problem. The country has gone wrong because a lot of you keep quiet. I'm aware of this. So please, when we have a problem like this serious national security issue, we must speak to it and not pretend it doesn't exist. It does exist. There's nothing wrong with implosion. Implosions are historically normal in human situations. When you put too many things inside one container, they could implode when that container can no more bear them. What you will ask yourself is, after the implosion, where do we go to? Are you afraid of implosion? No, don't be afraid of implosion. In most societies, without an implosion, nobody knocks the gong and calls people to come and talk and find out solutions to the crisis that undermine the community. Nigeria currently is at a crossroad. There is a war on, an asymmetrical war, and the government seems very weak about it. People are panicking and people are running, thinking that Tinubu can help. And that's the problem. If other politicians cannot, well, that's nothing wrong for the sake of security, thinking that Tinubu will be different from either Atiku or Buhari. I see nothing different in Atiku and Buhari. They're the same 10 and 10 pence. So Tinubu is the only one that's different from them. If you're telling me now, and I'll talk about security situation, that's the problem. The country is in dire straits, and the security architecture looks like it has been Afghanistan. It is right now ineffective. And that's why you're hearing people talk about state police and protocols that will allow the people to be able to protect themselves. We are moving towards that. If the government cannot help, people will resort to self-help. My brother, the security situation is serious and it is real. And this is the problem. We're not talking about it. We're pretentiously talking about it on the political front. There are underplays that are driving this problem in. One, the military are not united. Two, because of under the Buhari administration, there was a large-scale Afghanization of the Nigerian security services. I mean, Afghanization, you understand what it is. It's the penetration by political interests into the security services to actually plant soldiers who will do things in line with their own security intentions. And if they want to take over the country, of course, the easiest way is to put their militias into our army, or rather to have our army give up weapons and give up bases easy to their militias. And that's what's going on. So people are actually, yes, that's why you're seeing some people try to run to Tinubu. But sometimes they might also stop running to Tinubu and start organizing for themselves. I foresee people resorting to self-help. You see the army base. Ask yourself, I've said it on this program before. Tinubu might have taken over power, but is he in charge security-wise all over the country? I don't think so. There are a lot of infiltrations perpetrated during the Buhari period that Tinubu has not yet been able to undo. You now see a lot of those taken into security services, people who are said to be the radicalized elements from Boko Haram. It is those radicalized elements that are now showing the Boko Haram and all these Islamist fronts, militias, what to do in the country. At the end of the Civil War, Nigeria was 70% Christian, 30% Muslim. But the Muslims have been fighting to try to turn everything upside down. So, and their Muslim politicians are also doing the same thing. So, I tell you, there is an Afghanization of Nigerian security services underway. And that's what I can tell you. I don't believe in all those things that are being done. If it is here, people agitating for peacefully, agitating for different standards, you will see the army come to the east and start arresting people, start arresting Sunday Igboho. How come the army are not strong up north? Don't forget, these same security strategies were employed to undermine President Goodluck Jonathan. And now that the same set of people are not happy with President Tinubu, they are now employing the same strategy to suddenly undermine President Tinubu. That's why I'm telling you that what you're having now is an Afghanization of the security services. So that has been known for a very long time, and I have been very strong on this. Speaking about security, where most people were very afraid to even allow me speak, what happened today is all over the place. what I've been saying for the past 12 years, is it not all over the place? And these were products of hard research findings. I traveled to Mali. I went to Burkina Faso. I went to Cote d'Ivoire. I went to Ghana. I traveled to Yemen, the homeland of the Fulani. And I found out these problems. I presented it to Nigerians and I told them there is a war on to take land from Nigerians, take the land, take over the land, administer over the land, colonize the people who own the land. And that's what I tell you. It is the new version of settler colonialism taking place in Nigeria, even helped by Buhari administration.
The greatest stupidity I get is when the victim shows profound nonchalance and maybe naiveness or feigned ignorance of a looming danger. Do you know when I hear that it's not easy to Islamize Nigeria, cannot be, it's not possible. I begin to wonder, are you saying this because you expect to see the possibility only when everybody begins to wear turban or everybody begins to hit their heads on the floor and proclaim that they are now converts to Islam? No. You can say Nigeria is already Islamized when the instrument of power is controlled by Muslims. Now, to understand the psychology behind the people that wants to Islamize Nigeria, you must ask yourself this. What are the symptoms? What would you see before you know that, yes, this is indeed what is going to happen? When you look at the unalivings in Benue, Plateau State, that is targeted at specific geographical location and specific that specific demography and a specific sets of faith, you shouldn't have to dig too far to know what the plan is. And because you stay far away from this, if you think it's not going to be your turn, definitely it's going to be your turn. Now, if you know, I have seen videos of people confessing that government is behind what they are doing. Now, Jonathan, at one point in time, said that his cabinet is infiltrated by Boko Haram. To understand the enormity of the challenge we have ahead of us, know this. I want to talk to the people that are inflicting this burden on Nigerians. What will it look like if everybody in the world is a Muslim? If Christianity never existed? What will it be like? Because I have a mind that roams, a mind that thinks deeply, a mind that profoundly, play with thoughts. So that's what I do. What will happen if the whole world are Muslims? Will the peace that you claim you have eventually be realized? Will the wars stop? Will the unalivings indiscriminately stop? Would you not start looking for reasons to unalive, since the symbol that promotes you are two swords crossing each other? Suppose the whole world, everybody in the world is a Christian. Would that bring the peace? Would the unaliving stop? Will the mayhem and chaos stop? There's one other question I want to ask. Suppose on a Friday, you put a well-dressed Christian into a mosque and put him into a mosque. And on a Sunday, you put a well-dressed Muslim into a church. And on Friday, the Christian man in the mosque shouts, "Muhammad is an idiot." And on Sunday, the Muslim man in the church shouts, "Jesus is an idiot." Which of these two people will come out alive? Is it the Christian man in the mosque who says Muhammad is an idiot, or the Muslim man in the church who says Jesus Christ is an idiot? Who will come out alive? Now, I'm asking this question so that you will understand the ideology that drives the minds of the people that wants to put this system into the minds of the people that wants to force you into being what you don't want to be. Now, the whole idea is about control. It's about control. when they tell you, I'm being very choosy about my word because I don't know how to refrain myself from saying what's in my head. After all, Facebook said, what's in your mind? So I'm saying what's in my mind. This whole thing that you're seeing, the sudden unaliving in Nigeria, is about command and control. And trust me, it was the people behind it went to a panic mode. And I'll tell you when it all started. It started when, during the election between Goodluck Jonathan and Buhari, where Buhari said, let every race, every faith vote for them, for people belonging to their faith. And for the first time in election, Christians in the north voted outside this alliance of we are northerners. They voted. If you noticed, it was during Goodluck Jonathan's regime that the unalivings of Christians started. And it started with the Christians in the core north, then Christians in the middle belt. For some weird reason, the Christians in the core north have been taught, maybe to their thinking, been taught a lesson. Then the ones in middle belt now wants to be taught a lesson, so that when next election comes, what they are trying to do now is to force, particularly those states that are predominantly Christians, they're trying to force them to identify with that north and to skew their mind to always be northward, so that when elections come, we'll use that number we've long boasted about to subdue political results in favor of the north. Now, when I see this coalition, the coalition, so-called coalition, Peter, Atiku and El Rufai, I just wonder, it's the same old agenda. Nobody yet is still thinking about Nigeria. To save this Nigeria, we must flush out these people with this barbaric, devilish agenda that says that, look, one tribe is superior to another tribe, or one religion is superior to another religion. By the way, I believe Islam in Nigeria is not really about salvation. It's just a tool. It's just a tool fashioned by a group of political people. This foul, they always disgrace me for my videos. People know it's a local place at this day. So the Islam, I know, is just a tool used by a group of people to grab power and control this whole country. So for you sitting back and saying that it cannot happen, it's already happening. It's already happening. It's already there. So there's nothing. You don't kid yourself. Nobody's saying you can't go to church, but the instrument that makes policy for you is already captured. So think. You either foolishly pretend and wait that government is going to save you, or you read the writings and understand how it's coming and devise means by yourself to protect and preserve yourself. Not just yourself, your culture and tradition and your beliefs, and more importantly, the future of your children yet unborn. Otherwise, we'll just sit back and remain like other civilizations that have been captured, and we'll begin to wonder, how did it all happen? These people are focused and precise. They are resolved. While we, on the other hand, are still speculating. Is it real? Is it really happening? Will it stop? Will it this? Will it that? You get me? We are fighting over petty things that are mundane and not exactly beneficial to us, and don't even provide hope for the future for us. And yet we keep doing it. While as we divide ourselves fighting over these non-entities, these inanities, these people are advancing and getting more resolved and more powerful every day. It is time to think. It is time to see what's ahead of us and come together and fight it.
Welcome back to Local Journal, my people. The issue we are having in Nigeria is enormous, and at this point is overwhelming the country because even the citizens are tired. What is actually the problem of these people? What's actually their motive? What's actually their agenda? Of course, we know their agenda and what it all points at, you understand? Because it seems like they are all trying to kind of capture this whole country and make it theirs, which I feel is impossible because Nigerians no go fit just fold their arms like that. They carry the whole country, like saying that them create the country themselves. They possible. Nigerians and Christians will give them a fight anyhow where they want to. But let's look at the whole situation of things and the way things are playing out in this country. Is it really even making sense? They are the one that comes up with Sharia law. They come up with several things that, okay, they don't want Western education. Everything is just coming from their region. The South has been peaceful, though we have our own challenges. The South has its own challenges, no doubt. But the issue is this: all these major challenges that we're having across the country that is crumbling our country, causing famine, causing all sort of problem, and making the country stagnated forever, is coming from one particular region. I don't know how long the South is going to continue to take all these excesses from the North, because it's high time to call the bluff. This whole thing cannot continue like this. We also heard they were making plans and doing everything to ensure that Sharia law penetrates into the western part of the country. If not for the good Yoruba sons and daughters who resisted that law, these guys will do anything and go to any length to accomplish their plans and mission. Islam has been in Yoruba land even before these guys came. So what are we saying? The brand of Islam practiced in the West is different from the one practiced in the North. The West, they are very liberal, and that's the reason why you don't see any problem, regardless of the fact that Islam and Christianity is highly practiced in their region. Well, for me, they are going to find it very hard to accomplish their plans in Nigeria. Though we're already experiencing war in the Middle Belt, which I can liken to this jihadist war already. But I know that Nigerians are going to triumph. And I believe that Nigerians will give them a fight that they won't be able to achieve and accomplish these plans and this motive they are trying to push. So for me, it is time for us to unite so that these people don't succeed. Because if they succeed, Nigeria is gone. This is all I have to say. Kindly drop what you have to say in the comment section. And if today is your first time to visit our channel, please kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel.